The gaming industry wants you to believe that bigger budget means better game, that a $70 price tag, a massive open world, and a Hollywood cast equals an unforgettable experience. But here's the truth. Some of the most creative, most emotional, and most addictive games ever made were built by tiny teams in small studios with a fraction of the budget. No corporate pressure, no microtransactions shoved in your face, just pure, passionate game design. Indie developers have been quietly outclassing billion-dollar studios for years now, and today we're giving them the credit they deserve. These are 20 indie games that didn't just compete with AAA titles, they flat out beat them. Let's go.
Ponkel made a roguelike that became a phenomenon. It's simple. You survive waves of enemies using different weapons and abilities, but the addictiveness is unreal. The gameplay loop of just one more run is perfectly tuned. Enemies spawn constantly, you're dashing around, collecting power-ups, and watching your screen explode in visual chaos. The replayability is insane with different characters and builds. It spawned an entire genre of survivors likes, but the original is still the best. It costs like $5 and has more playtime value than most $60 games.
Moon Studios created an action platformer that's visually one of the most beautiful games ever made. The hand-drawn environments are absolutely stunning. The platforming is tight and precise, and the combat is engaging. The story about Ori and a forest dying is emotionally resonant. The soundtrack is moving. Every frame looks like a painting. The gameplay loops are satisfying. This is what happens when developers care more about artistry than profit margins. AAA games have budgets that dwarf this, but Ori has art direction that rivals anything AAA can produce. Team Cherry's original Metroidvania games made by companies 10 times their size. The art direction is incredible, the combat is tight, the boss fights are legendary, and the world building is phenomenal. You're exploring a bug kingdom, trying to figure out what happened. The story is mysterious and rewards curiosity. The upgrade system feels rewarding, and discovering new areas is genuinely exciting. It spawned a franchise because it's that good. This game proves that indie developers can dominate a genre. Metroidvania fans consider Hollow Knight the gold standard. Studio MDHR animated every frame by hand, like a classic 1930s cartoon, then made it brutally difficult. Cuphead is a run-and-gun platformer, where every boss is a character-animated marvel that would take AAA studios months. The art style alone is revolutionary, but the gameplay? It's challenging, fair, and rewarding. Each boss teaches you new patterns, and beating them feels incredible. The soundtrack is incredible, the charm is undeniable. It's the kind of passion project that AAA studios can't produce because there's no focus group telling them to make it easier. Indie developers answered the call and created a masterpiece. Campo Santo created a masterpiece of atmosphere and storytelling. You're a fire lookout in the Wyoming wilderness in the 1980s, communicating only by radio with Delilah, a female voice that becomes your only connection to another human. The story unfolds as you explore the forest, managing a mysterious situation while developing a relationship through dialogue. The art direction is stunning, the writing is incredible, and the ending is genuinely surprising. It's a small game with a big heart that proves indie devs understand narrative better than most AAA studios. This walking simulator transcends the genre. You're exploring your family home, discovering memories and stories through environmental clues. Each member of your family has a unique vignette. One is told through silhouettes, another through a comic book style, another through a game within the game. It's only 2-3 hours long, but it's emotionally devastating. The writing is phenomenal, the art direction is beautiful, and the experience is something you'll never forget. It won multiple Game of the Year nominations and proves that not every game needs 100-hour campaigns to be meaningful. Toby Fox made an RPG that became a cultural phenomenon.
It looks simple, 8-bit graphics, retro music, but the story is one of gaming's best. The entire game can be played without killing anyone, and your approach changes everything. The characters are charming, the humor is excellent, the boss fights are creative, and the ending hits differently depending on your choices. The soundtrack is phenomenal. It was made by one person in spare time, and it outsells most AAA games. It proved that indie games could tell stories as compelling as any AAA narrative.
Za Ohm made a detective RPG with zero combat and incredible writing. You're a cop with amnesia solving a murder in a dystopian city, but the magic is in the conversations. Your character stats like logic, inland empire, and pain threshold literally talk to you and argue with each other. You can fail dialogue checks and it still matters. The story branches wildly based on your choices and personality. The world building is phenomenal, the characters are unforgettable, and won Game of the Year at multiple award shows. This is what happens when developers prioritize writing over spectacle. AAA devs are taking notes. Motion Twin made a roguelike Metroidvania hybrid that's incredibly tight. Every run feels different because there are so many weapon and ability combinations. The art style is gorgeous, hand-drawn animation that looks smooth as butter. The combat feels weighted and satisfying. The boss fights are memorable, and the difficulty curve is perfect. Death isn't punishment, it's progression. You're unlocking new weapons, new biomes, new ways to play. The level design encourages exploration and rewards you for it. For an indie game, the production value is insane. AAA studios have made roguelikes that cost 10 times as much and couldn't touch this. One developer created an entire life simulator. Stardew Valley is a farming game where you can romance characters, explore mines, fish, cook, decorate your home, and just vibe. That sounds chill, but it's addictive in a way that AAA open worlds aspire to be. You can spend 300 plus hours and still be discovering new things. The characters have real personality, the seasonal changes keep the world fresh, and there's no pressure. Play how you want. The pixel art is charming, the story about escaping corporate life to farm resonates with people, and it was made by one person. One person. Did I mention it cost like $15? This indie platformer is a masterclass in game design. Mechanically, it's tight, pixel-perfect controls that feel incredible. But the story? That's where Celeste destroys most AAA games. You're playing as Madeline, a girl with anxiety and depression, climbing a mountain while confronting her inner demons. The narrative respects you enough to explore mental health seriously without being preachy. Visually, it's beautiful. The soundtrack is emotional, and every level teaches you something new while never holding your hand. It's not just a game, it's an emotional journey that happens to have perfect controls. It's poker, but it's not poker. Balatro is a roguelike deck builder that sounds boring on paper, but is absolutely addictive. You're building poker hands, but with joker cards that have crazy mechanics. One doubles your points, another multiplies combos, some completely break the game. The synergies are insane. You'll go in thinking you have a trash hand and somehow turn it into a game-winning combo. It won awards in 2024, has zero monetization, and proves you don't need AAA budgets to make a game that owns your brain. It's genuinely one of the most innovative games ever made. Supergiant didn't just make a sequel, they made something larger and bolder. You're Malinois, Zacharias' sister, and you're going after Kronos, the Titan himself. The new gameplay mechanics are deeper. There are now 2 entirely different biomes to explore. You can go down to Tartarus or up to Mount Olympus. The bosses are insanely memorable, and the character interactions will have you hitting that one more run button for hours. Animal familiars, arcana cards, incantations. There's so much complexity packed in, but it's introduced so smoothly you never feel overwhelmed. People have logged 150 hours and still discovering new content. AAA games launch with half this content. Supergiant Games created the roguelike that transcended the genre. Every time you die, you're not frustrated. You're excited to try again because there's always something new to discover. The story unfolds across runs. Characters are hilarious and charming. The art is stunning, and the soundtrack is phenomenal. You're Zagreus escaping the underworld, fighting through procedurally generated rooms, collecting power-ups, and getting stronger with each attempt. The progression system is genius. Even failed runs reward you. This game has won countless awards and proves that small teams can make experiences that rival anything coming from multi-million-dollar studios. This game is insane. Team Cherry waited 6 years to drop Hollow Knight Silksong, and every single second was worth it. You're playing as Hornet, a warrior princess who's way faster and more acrobatic than the original protagonist. The world is gorgeously designed with distinct biomes, ruined chapels, hunter territories, a massive citadel. Everything looks unique. The combat is brutal, the boss fights are phenomenal, and the story slowly unfolds through environmental clues and NPCs. It sold over 7 million copies in just 3 months. For $20, you're getting a full, polished masterpiece that AAA studios spend millions trying to replicate. No bugs, no crunch, just pure art.